So let's use an example of energy budgets, and we're going to talk about the specific example of lizards. So when we look at lizards, remember that they are ectothermic, which means that they do not use energy to maintain a metabolic rate. So they tend to be relatively slower, and they fatigue more easily. So they use energy more slowly than animals, and they tend to fatigue more quickly. So if we look at the difference between lizards that are herbivorous and lizards that are carnivorous, we can see that there is a relationship. So let's look at an image of this. We can see here that on one axis, we have the metabolic rate. This is the amount of oxygen that is obtained per gram of body weight per hour. So the higher the metabolic rate, the more active the animal is going to be. So you'll notice here that at smaller sizes in grams, that they have a higher metabolic rate. So they're actually more active. And then when we get to the larger, like the iguanas, say, for example, the larger lizards, they have a lower metabolic rate. So what we see here is a trend that when we look at small lizards, these are the ones that are carnivorous. And so say, for example, they tend to eat small insects, so they eat insects. They might sit and wait, and they might reach out and grab them, right? And then eat them. And it might take a long time for them to actually digest them. So the energy that they obtain per given unit of cost of actually the hunting means that they can obtain enough calories from the insect more than it actually costs them. So they obtain more energy from the prey than the cost of hunting. Now, if we look at large lizards, they tend to be herbivorous. And again, they are ectothermic. And so it would take them more energy to be able to hunt the small prey, and they're not going to get enough like out of an insect, enough energy out of an insect to pay for the cost of actually capturing them. So this means that it's better for them they have a different strategy. They obtain their food by eating plants. Now there is an interesting example. So if we look at some examples here of the Komodo dragon. So this is a very large lizard. So this would be an exception to the rule. And it lives in Indonesia, and it feeds actually on mammals. And so it actually has a kind of a sit and wait policy where it will sit and hide and then lunge out and try to grab them. One of the interesting things is it doesn't generally chase them down. And the other thing about them, which is kind of gruesome, is that they have a really bad set of bacteria in their mouth. And so when they bite their prey, it causes such a bad bacterial infection, the wound, that is actually what ends up killing the organism. And so this would be a different strategy that doesn't require a lot of energy in terms of cost, but has a very good benefit return to them. And so this is just an example of the energy budgets and how they differ in this particular instance, depending upon the size of the organism, right? And that dictates, for example, whether or not a group of organisms tends to be herbivorous or tends to be carnivorous.